Okay, so with this, they released some new assault mode support randomly out of nowhere, and it's actually really good. So I decided to make a Colossal Fighter assault mode deck because that's one of my favorite assault mode decks to go into. Because everyone else just goes into Stardust Dragon. It's good, but it's boring. It just negates cards. Colossal Fighter assault mode, much more versatility, allows for more lasting games. As always, I'll talk about the deck more at the end of the video. Okay, so final thoughts on this deck. You may notice something weird about this deck, other than the fact that it's a assault mode deck, which automatically pulls it out of the running for a deck being good. I mean, except for in Yu-Gi-Oh! Online, back in before 2012, before they pulled it down, when the assault mode cards came out, Stardust Dragon Turbo Assault Mode was legit one of the meta decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Online, so I'll always remember that. Assault modes have a special place in my heart, just for that. And I've made decks in the past about all of the assault mode cards before they release a new support, and it is so hard to make an assault mode deck because the assault mode cards are not very good, and they all brick in your hand. It is so bad. But anyways, you may have noticed this is a 46 card deck instead of a 40 card deck, and that's because while I was deck testing this, I kept running into cases where I would just have dead cards in my hand, because you're running 4 garnets. Obviously, my thought was, I could probably reduce the amount. I don't need both Stardust Dragon and Halberd Cannon, but I went into both of them a lot, and I obviously needed both the Colossal fighters. That's what the deck was based around. I thought I could either focus on one or, get rid of one of these two, and I didn't want to do that. I'm running 4 garnets. That's bad. But, I use these cards. They're part of the strategy. I kind of just have to take the loss on that and do something else. And I eventually just decided, after a couple of versions of this deck I went through, this isn't the first one, I was like, well, I need level 3 monsters for this deck because it's built around that. What if I just add in dangers? So I threw in the 2 level 3 dangers. That was it. I just added them to the deck. I didn't take anything away for it. That way I could see, during deck testing, it would be very painfully obvious at that point, which cards were dead, which ones that I absolutely not need and I can just get rid of. I found out through testing that I don't really need Glow Up Bulb or Arcana Apprentice, where this card was really good in some of my past versions of Assault Mode decks before the new support came out. So I could have ditched those 2 cards, and that would make it a 44 card deck. But the thing is, adding those 2 dangers in just solved all of my problems. The deck immediately became consistent, where I was bricking all the time. And I don't know why. They just work so well with it. Even though, there's a whole bunch of times where I can't actually go into them. But then again, the deck is dark-based as well. It would just fit so well. I need cards in the grave. I don't mind if my Assault Mode cards go to the graveyard, because I can return them to the deck with Assault Reboot. I didn't really use them very much, but it solved so many of my bricking problems, and I bricked so much less once I put these cards in. So, in the video, it's kind of hard to see what the combo is, that allows you to go into Assault Mode cards. Basically, Psy Reflector is a 1-card Stardust Dragon or Colossal fighter, and it searches out Assault Mode, so it's actually, a 1-card Assault Mode card. So, this card right here can search it out from the deck. That's why I'm running triple 10 key. You can bring this card out, it can tribute itself to special summon Psy Reflector from your deck, and then Psy Reflector, when he's brought out, allows you to search out an Assault Mode card, or just a card with Assault Mode in its name. So, if I already had Assault Mode in my hand, I would just add Assault Reboot, or if I had one of the Assault Mode monsters in my hand, I would add Assault Mode 0. Because this card's actually not half bad if you have, one of your Garnets in your hand. Which, I was in situations in which both of those things happened, where I already had Assault Mode activate, so I went into one of these other two cards. And actually, in the video, I think I used both of them. So, that's why I'm running one-offs of each, because they're just search options. And they're both kind of good cards. So, Sire Reflect allows you to search it out, and then you can reveal an Assault Mode to special summon an Assault Mode monster from your hand or graveyard? Or I think it's just your graveyard. And then you can increase its level by 1 to 4. Which means, since these two cards are Assault Mode monsters that are both targets for it, and they both go in the graveyard real easily, you can make them levels 6 through 8. And since this is a level 1 tuner, you can go into level 9s. Which is... I think there's one Assault Mode Psychic type monster that's level 9, which is what that's really useful for. But usually you just choose level 3. You want to increase their level by 3. That way they go up to level 7, and then you can synchro into a level 8, 1 plus 7. So that's what's happening. It's kind of hard to see in the replays because it goes so fast. But the level I'm choosing is 3, like 100% of the time. I don't think I ever chose a different level. The Phantom Knights are in here because they're targets for Colossal Fire Assault Mode to send to the graveyard. One of my favorite things to do was when Colossal Fighter Assault Mode's brought out, his effects, both of them, can miss timing. It's so bad. Basically what his effect is when he's special summoned, through Assault Mode Activate, you can send 2 warriors from your deck to the graveyard. So I just send 2 Phantom Knights because they're just pure advantage in the graveyard. And his other effect, if he's destroyed on the field, you can special summon a Colossal Fighter from your graveyard. And both of those cards, both of those effects can miss timing, so you have to be really careful with how you do it. So if you're wondering why I was going into, Assault Mode Colossal Fighter as soon as my opponent's turn started, it's so that I would guarantee his effect would go off without missing timing. But it worked out, it just worked for me. I already talked about things I could remove. Like, if I were to do that now, I can probably remove Succession. I could remove Mist Claws. And I could remove 1 copy of Ancient Cloak. Technically, I don't need, Night Spear or Fragile Armor. There we go. That's a more appropriate level thing, and then I could just add in, I don't know, another copy of, this card, or just add back in an Ancient Cloak, and that would be good too. You don't need the 46 cards. I just did it. I was expecting to remove stuff, but it worked so well for me that I didn't. Alright, and that's it.